Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keith from the studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99, where you can also find us in the Birmingham-Bloomfield area, on Birmingham Area Municipal Access, and on City Cable 15 of Southfield. Join us live on Channel 10 in Waterford every day on the Media Network of Waterford, and live to tape on Channel 10 in Orion Township and Lake Orion on Orion Neighborhood Television, or as the cool kids call it, ONTV. You can also find us on the radio on the air 88.1 FM, The Biff, a service of the Bloomfield Hills School District, serving the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and Troy areas on the Biff radio network. Find us online on our Facebook pages at Civic Center TV 15 and at Lakes FM, on our website at civiccentertv.com, and on My Michigan TV, or MyMy, at mymytv.com, where you can also learn more about downloading their free apps for your smartphone and smart TV. All that information is on our website at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. We can also find all of our programs on demand and find each individual interview as well, and watch the Megacast at your pace, on your time, however you'd like to watch the program. Then let's head over to our news page, civiccentertv.com/local-news, where we have links to the most up-to-date information on COVID-19 from reliable expert resources at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division, so that you can stay up to date on everything that you need to know about the spread of COVID-19, precautionary tactics such as masking and social distancing, as well as vaccinations and booster shots should you be in need of getting a booster or of getting vaccinated. Also on our news page at civiccentertv.com, by clicking on our local news tab at the top of the page, or by typing in civiccentertv.com/local-news, we feature articles from many journalistic outlets throughout the state of Michigan to keep you up to date on COVID-19 and other stories making headlines all across the Great Lakes state. Our top story today from Mike Wilkinson of Bridge, Michigan, is their coronavirus tracker, now stating half of Michigan residents should be wearing masks, according to the CDC, indoors. The CDC is now recommending that everyone in 16 counties in the Great Lakes state, over half of the state's population, should be wearing masks indoors in public. Increases in COVID-19 infections and hospitalizations triggered the heightened designation, with Michigan now having the most counties in the high-risk category outside of the northeast part of the United States. The high-risk category suggests that it would be safer if everyone, regardless of their health or vaccination status, wears masks indoors when in public. The change affects much of southeast Michigan, including Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, and Washtenaw counties, where increases in cases and hospitalizations have been the most stark. But it also includes numerous counties in the northwestern corner of the Lower Peninsula, and two Upper Peninsula counties, those being Mackinac and Chippewa counties, as well as Calhoun County. All told, more than 5 million people live in those affected areas. Last week, the CDC identified only Grand Traverse County as high risk based on increases in hospitalizations. It is among the 16 now designated as high risk in the state of Michigan. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's community levels guidelines, however, are just recommendations. Most of the state has been under low or medium risk for several weeks in those counties. It was considered safe for healthy people to remain maskless under those scenarios. Most states have no counties with high risk have no counties considered high risk, except most of New England, New Jersey, and Delaware, and a few other states as well. On Friday, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services reported that 1,003 hospital patients were confirmed or suspected to have had COVID-19. That's an increase of 127 from Wednesday of last week and 256 in the span of a week, the largest weekly increase in COVID hospitalizations since the second week of April. Though many of the hospitalizations are in southeast Michigan, they are rising elsewhere, having doubled in the Upper Peninsula from 11 to 22, and in northern Michigan from 21 to 44 in the past week. West Michigan hospitals saw COVID-19 patients increase from 66 in total to 108 over the past week. As hospitalizations have increased, so have deaths. In April, Michigan's hospital reported an average of 2 deaths per day. So far in May, the average has been 5 per day. In January, however, for For reference, the state's hospitals reported an average of 56 daily COVID-19 deaths, according to CDC data analyzed by Bridge, Michigan. As of Friday, 5.4% of Michigan's hospital beds were occupied by COVID-positive patients, up from 2.9% a month ago. At the peak of the Omicron surge in January, more than a quarter of all beds were occupied by COVID-19 patients. More information from Bridge, Michigan, and of course to follow along with their coronavirus tracker as they update that throughout the week on our website, civiccentertv.com/local-news. Click on that first headline or that first thumbnail picture next to the headline, and that will take you to Bridge, Michigan's website, so you can keep up to date on this article from Mike Wilkinson and all their other articles making headlines each and every day. Additionally, making headlines on civiccentertv.com/local-news from Frank Witzel of the Detroit Free Press. Today, Ferndale Schools is resuming its mask mandate. As COVID-19 cases rise across Michigan and Metro Detroit, Ferndale Schools announced on Friday that it is reinstating its mask mandate. Quote, "To ensure we are doing everything that we can do to keep our students and staff healthy and our schools open, we will be mandating masks indoors only for all students and staff as of Monday," the district said in a statement on its website. The order resumes after Oakland County entered the high transmission category for the virus, according to the notice. It joins 15 other counties, as we mentioned from that article in Bridge, Michigan, including Wayne and Macomb counties across the state in the classification by the CDC. The classification indicates where COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations have risen to the point that people are recommended to wear masks indoors. More than half of all Michigan residents live in such counties where they should mask up indoors following a spike in COVID cases, according to recommendations from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The state added 27,705 cases of COVID and 76 deaths from the virus as of Wednesday of last week, which includes totals from the previous 6 days before that. The state reported an average of about 3,958 cases per day over that 7-day period. That is a 46% increase from 2,706 cases per day last week, and the 5th consecutive week where cases have risen. After declining for nearly 3 months, hospitalization rates in Michigan are also increasing for the 5th consecutive week. Lastly, making headlines on civiccentertv.com/local-news from Mark Hicks at the Detroit News. Gas prices in Michigan have hit a new high, $4.38 per gallon. That's up 5 cents from a week ago. Michigan gas prices continue to climb this week, hitting a new record of $4.38 per gallon. The average for regular unleaded was up 5 cents from a week ago, 48 cents from a month ago, and $1.43 per gallon from this time a year ago, according to AAA, which tracks prices across the nation. At that price, motorists are paying about $65 to fill a 15-gallon tank. Quote, "Despite the slight decrease in demand, Michigan gas prices continue to increase, setting a new record high," says Adrian Woodland, a AAA spokeswoman. She continued on by saying, quote, "Pump prices will likely face upward pressure if gasoline stocks continue to decrease and oil prices remain above $105 per barrel," and closed quote. Energy Information Administration showed total domestic gasoline stocks decreased by 3.6 million barrels of crude to 225 million barrels, but gasoline demand also decreased slightly from 8.86 million barrels a day to 8.7 million barrels. Lower demand usually causes pump prices to fall, but crude prices have been so volatile and they have surged. And because of that, pump prices have followed suit. At the beginning of last week, the price of crude oil dipped below $100 a barrel to a global market concern that crude demand will suffer as COVID-19 lockdowns in China remain in place. However, crude prices that then reversed course due to growing market worries that Ukrainian and European Union actions against Russian oil and natural gas companies could spark Russia's retaliation, leading to more market disruption and uncertainty. Metro Detroit's average daily gas price has increased overall as well as the state total, hitting a new record high of $4.44 per gallon. That's up 14 cents from last week's average. The state's other expensive gas prices include Marquette averaging $4.49 per gallon and Ann Arbor averaging $4.41. Least expensive averages in the state are in Traverse City at $4.21 per gallon, Saginaw at $4.31 a gallon, and Grand Rapids at $4.32 per gallon. All those headlines can be found on our website, civiccentertv.com/local-news, as well as those ever helpful links to accurate information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division. Click on over to there and navigate through those links to find out if you are in one of 16 counties across the state considered to be in high risk for COVID-19 infections and should be masking up indoors in public spaces. We have a great program ahead on this Monday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Coming up next, we'll preview some exciting opportunities for summer fun in Traverse City with Tawny Lynn Hammond. And then at the bottom of the hour, iconic art throughout Oakland County. We'll be joined by 3 leaders in West Bloomfield Township, which will be one of Oakland County's homes for the DIA's Inside Out program this summer. That's up next. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
But we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior.
These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance.
They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different.
One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games?
Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
we work together to protect water resources for everyone.
most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
a rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, we'll also find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. One of the most beloved Michigan travel destinations in the summer is Traverse City, where many find it's best to explore the town and everything it has to offer on the bicycle or on the water. Lynn Hammond's business allows you to do a little bit of both of those things. She is the owner and president of Wind Dancer Tours of Traverse City and joins us now on the Megacast. Lynn, thank you for being with us.
Oh, thank you. It's really good to be here with you.
Yeah, good to have you with us, and good to see you out there on the water, Captain.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful. We had a great weekend. We're doing training with the crew, working on rigging. We kick off our season on the 26th of May.
Yeah, it's right around that time of the year. It's been beautiful lately. It's going to be a little bit more seasonal weather coming up before we really get into the hotter portions of the year, which is a great time to be out on the water in Traverse City. So you not only offer tours on the water, on boats, but also by bicycle. So tell us a little bit more about Wind Dancer Tours and the services that you provide to people that are looking to explore Traverse City and have a little bit of fun outdoors while doing it.
Oh, thanks. My favorite subject matter. First of all, We do offer land and water tours. Wind Dancer is a 60-foot long schooner, and she was launched in 1988. She's a custom-made Thomas Colvin Gazelle, and she's a schooner. And the Great Lakes have a rich schooner history going way back through before the lumber boom up here in northern Michigan, the War of 1812. The ships, the naval ships that fought the War of 1812 were schooners. And so schooners have a rich, long history on the Great Lakes, moving people, moving animals, moving goods. It was how things got from point A to point B prior to the railroad. And what we do is we bring people out. It's an elevated, unique experience on the water, a 3-hour tour. We're based out of the Delamar Resort Hotel, where the Holiday Inn used to be, at the bottom of the west arm of the Grand Traverse Bay. It's the Delamar. It's a beautiful hotel, and that's where our dock is. And we take people out for 3 hours. We head to Power Island. We sailed in that direction. It used to be called Ford Island. Henry Ford actually purchased the island and used it for retreats. There was kind of a hotel out there. He had a full orchestra out there. It's a really neat history. We also, Tyler, one of the things that's real important to us when folks are with us on the water or land, we tell the story of the first people, the indigenous people that lived here, the Chippewa, the Ojibwe, and we tell their stories. And they were here first. They hunted, they fished, they lived on these waters. And it's real important for us to acknowledge their part of the history of the land and the water. So we also, in addition to the sailing excursions, we do land tours, the Awe of Leelanau, where we do e-assist bikes. It's guided. Take people out on the Leelanau Peninsula. It's the old railroad bed, and it's now known as the Tart Trail System. And it's the Leelanau Trail, a part of the Tart Trail System. And we end in Sutton's Bay with a picnic, at a picnic, gourmet picnic. The guide brings all the food, snacks, water, and then our it's interpretive. So the guide will stop, talk about points of interest, talk about history, about 4 or 5 stops where you can get water, have a snack, talk to our historian, our guide, and then you end it with a picnic in Sutton's. You get the bike for the whole day, and you can either shop in Sutton or come back to Traverse City, and you have it really to the end of the day, 5, 6 o'clock. But one thing I just wanted to mention, and I know I'm talking a lot, I apologize. You're going to have to cut my mic and make me stop talking. But one last thing I wanted to offer is when you're on our boat, what makes us unique, because there's a lot of great boats on the Great Lakes, and particularly Grand Traverse Bay and the West Arm. What makes us unique and different is when you're on Wind Dancer, everything is from northern Michigan. We offer our guests, we don't have customers, we have friends. We offer everything locally made. It's a gourmet meal made right at the Artisan, right at Delamar, made by a chef in a commercial kitchen. And so there's a meal, there's locally sourced snacks, there's handmade, homemade jerky from Deering's Market. They've been around since the 30s. Great Lakes chips made right here in Traverse City. And all the drinks you're going to taste, Bonobo wine, Mammoth spirits, Rare Bird beers, and soda pop from Northwood, ciders, everything's local. So it's an authentic up north Michigan experience.
Yeah, you get to experience the sights, the sounds, and tastes of Traverse City in a really dynamic set of tours. And so are these tours through your company, are they private, are they public, are they combinations of both?
That's a great question. They are open to the public, and you can also privately charter the boat. Our webpage is www.winddancertc.com, and you'll see that we have signature sales, 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock each day. 3 days a week, we feature our partners, Bonobo, Mammoth, and Rare Bird, and that's their products exclusive to that sale at 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Those are called specialty sales. And then you can also privately charter Wind Dancer. And we carry 18 people. There's 3 crew, a captain, a first mate, and a second mate. And you can privately charter the boat, and we have people that are getting married, people that are getting engaged, people celebrating anniversaries and birthdays and retirements. We've had proposals on the boat, engagements on the boat, where the captain does a special champagne toast. So that information for a private charter is on our webpage.
We're joined by Lynn Hammond, the owner and president of Wind Dancer Tours of Traverse City, joining us on the Megacast. More information on their website, winddancertc.com, winddancertc.com, to learn more about their sailing tours, their e-bike tours, e-bike rentals, pontoon charters, private charters, and more, and to sign up and find out their regular hours so that you can visit Traverse City and experience the entirety of Traverse City with our friends over there at Wind Dancer Tours, winddancertc.com for more information. And so, Lynn, as you go into this season, as you're in the thick now of the spring and heading toward the summer season in Michigan, these are peak travel seasons for those that are traveling throughout Michigan, from within Michigan, for those that are coming into Michigan from places like Canada and other places in the U.S. to explore the great sights and sounds and destinations of Michigan, coming out of the last few years, which have, I would imagine, for a company that's business can be so based in the tourism traffic over these seasons, may not have been as fruitful as one would have hoped because of the pandemic. For those that are traveling and are going to places like Traverse City, how important is it for them to venture over to companies like yours and others that are small businesses that are providing these experiences in places like Traverse City this summer, knowing where we're at with COVID-19 and where these businesses are at too, and their need for this summer to be very successful for their future?
Well, it's really important. I think people are looking, when people come up to Traverse City, we want to offer them a transformational experience. When you get out on the water or you get out on your bike and you're experiencing the outdoors, you really just unplug from the stressors in life. But it's been past 2 years have been stressful for everybody. And what we offer people are an opportunity to unplug, de-stress. When you can feel it when people are on our bike tours or people are on the boat, you get out, you get those sails up, or you get out on the trail and you just feel the buzz of life stop and just quiet. It's a quiet, serene feeling, and you just feel that you're untethered. And it has been a couple of rough years for everybody. People lost people they loved. Lives were transformed, many in a good way, and for some, it was a real mixed bag. There might have been some sadness there. And so there's been a collective stress for everybody in the world. And people coming up here, what we want to do for them is offer them an experience that they're never going to forget. They're going to remember this the rest of their life. When they're sitting at their cubicle at work, or at their desk at work, or in their garage at work, or in their restaurant, whatever their trade, whatever their profession, occupation is, we want them to touch back in their memory and remember their time on the water with us as part of the Wind Dancer family. We want that to sustain them through tough and dark times, rough times. Life can be very beautiful, but can also offer us challenges. And what we offer people is that opportunity to create a beautiful memory. Our guides, our mates, our land guides, our captains, they know that we live in paradise. And you live up here. I had a friend visiting one time, and we're driving over by the bay, and she said, I don't know what it would be like to live in beauty like this. And we do. Yeah. And so that's what we want to turn people onto and make them fans of. And, our reviews are great. They're like 5-star reviews, over 100 5-star reviews. It's only our first season. We're in our second season now. We want to deliver on the Wind Dancer promise. I'm glad you mentioned the pontoon boat. It is a 6-passenger pontoon boat that leaves out of the Delamar. And we have a captain who is in charge of the boat. So 6 of you, your friends, family can get on there. You can have some adult beverages. You don't have to worry about safety. You don't have to worry about rules of the water, which side of the bay you should be on, how fast you should be going. You can relax, not think about that. We take you out of Power Island. You can swim. You can look for Petoskey stones on the beach. You can sunbathe, and our captain will take care of your every need. I also have the River Outfitters, which is over in Medalley Park. It's our sister company where we offer stand-up paddle boards, kayaks, and bikes. If you want to get close up to the water and more exercise and paddling on the bay or paddling on the Boardman River, we offer that too. So really, this is, Tyler, it's a lifestyle. We are not only creating beautiful experiences for those that rent a kayak, get out on Wind Dancer. We also have a history tour of Traverse City. So not only are we offering that, but we also want the people that work for the company to be experiencing that beauty and every day look forward to coming to work.
And so great, too, because these opportunities that you're providing to your customers give them a little bit of a glance of everything that makes Michigan so unique. And that's really, and Traverse City is such a great representation, especially Traverse City in the summer, of Michigan at its peak. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got enough of the city for people that are interested in the city lifestyle. It's got enough of the country and sightseeing for those that want to see some natural beauty. Of course, it's got the Great Lakes and the water experiences too. And so there's so much to experience in Traverse City, and an opportunity like this gives people that opportunity to explore it in a number of different ways and kind of get a full scope of Traverse City in that short time that they are visiting Traverse City.
Absolutely. It's a really unique place to live, and it's an even more unique place to visit. I always tell our crew, our team, this is somebody's Disney. This is somebody's Grand Canyon. This is people saved up their hard-earned money, and they chose to come up here, and we want to show them the time of their lives. We want them to be able to envision the past when the first peoples were here. We want them to envision this little tiny frontier, this Midwest, Great Lakes frontier town, which didn't even have a post office when it first started. And we tell the story of how we grew and what we've become today, and just create those beautiful memories. Well, one of our taglines is let's get outdoors and make some memories.
More information on their website, winddancertc.com. That's winddancertc.com. To learn more information, you can also find them on various social media, on Instagram at the Wind Dancer TC, and Facebook at Wind Dancer Traverse City Charters as well. All that information also linked on their website, winddancertc.com. We're joined by Tawny Lynn Hammond, the owner and president of Wind Dancer Tours of Traverse City, joining us on the Megacast. Tawny Lynn, for those that may be interested after hearing this, after going to your website, what are some of the price points on these tours for those that may be interested and may be wanting to explore but also fit within their price ranges?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. We have a variety of opportunities for people to experience northern Michigan and Traverse City and the Little Peninsula. For starters, with our e-bikes, for $75, you get an e-bike for the whole day, and you get the free tour of the history of Traverse City. And we've laid that all out for you. You'll be able to listen to it like in earpods or on your phone. And that's $75 for the day. A half day is $45. The tour, the guided tour, which comes with a meal, along with the interpretive tour of the culture and the history of the Leelanau Peninsula and Traverse City, that's $159 a person. And you get the bike for the whole day. So it's half-day tour, but if you wanted to, you'd have your bike the whole day. Wind Dancer is $199 a person. That's a 3-hour sail, and that comes with the guide, right? So you're learning all about the history of the area, the gourmet meal from Artisan Restaurant at Delamar, and then it's an open bar. We're not an alcohol-forward business. We are primarily about tasting and experiencing all of these wonderful spirits from Mammoth and Bonobo and Rare Bird. And so we serve you, actually. So if you would like to, have another glass of wine, we bring you your glass of wine. It's total pampering when you're on board the Wind Dancer schooner, and the same with the land tour. So that's $199 a person. For a private charter, it's $3,500, and that includes the food and gratuity. And if you wanted to bring your own food and your own beverages, it's $2,500, and that includes gratuity as well. On the one for $199 a person, we can carry 18 people, and we always encourage our crew work really hard. They're professional mariners, and gratuities are always appreciated for that one. Kayaks, $50 for a half day, $75 for a full day. And to rent a bike, I think is $20 an hour, $30 a half day, and I believe it's $60 for a full. So there's lots of different price point options. The pontoon boat is really affordable, $300 for 6 people for 2 hours. And we are doing something special when the Blue Angels are here. And for the 4th of July, you definitely want to book that pontoon boat and get out on the bay. And for 4th of July, I mean, a spectacular show on your own private pontoon boat. So I'm really shocked it's not booked yet. And we also are doing something special on Wind Dancer for 4th of July, 7:30 to 10:30. That'll be a 4-hour cruise, and they can find that information right on the webpage.
Webpage is winddancertc.com. That's winddancertc.com. We're joined by Lynn Hammond, the owner and president of Wind Dancer Tours of Traverse City, joining us on the Megacast. Lynn, before we let you go, anything else at this time that would be important for our audience to know about your business that we haven't discussed today?
We've covered it. We think we've covered it. I just want folks to know that when they're with us, they are our friends. They're part of the Wind Dancer family, part of the River Outfitters family. People come back time and time again because we treat folks special the way we would want to be treated. And we just look forward to making beautiful memories. You mentioned COVID. We sanitize all our equipment. You're socially distanced naturally because you're outside. You're not in an enclosed space. That's really the perfect thing to do as a family or with friends, being outside, being in a safe environment. You're not cooped up like in a theater or something of that nature. And I love the theater. Trust me, the State Theater is beautiful here in downtown Traverse City. I'm just saying that if you do have concerns, it really is the perfect destination where you can be with family and friends, make great memories, and not be concerned about that, because we take your safety seriously. And we just look forward to seeing you out on the water or out on the trail. Come see us. We'll take care of you. And we just look forward to seeing everybody out here in Traverse City.
Lynn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. More information, again, on their website. Learn more before you book your trip, and, of course, to get in contact with them about renting out that pontoon boat for the 4th of July. It's not rented out yet, as Lynn said. Very surprising. So jump on that if you're interested in that experience for the 4th of July holiday. winddancertc.com for more information. That's winddancertc.com for more information, and to follow them on social media as well. We'll take a short break on the Megacast. On the other side, art in Oakland County from the Detroit Institute of Arts. Find out where you can find some recreations of classical pieces all throughout your hometown. That's up next on the Oakland County Megacast.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
To Sophia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Joining us now is Kathy Russ, Director of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, as well as Debbie Binder, West Bloomfield Township Clerk, and Terry Weingarten, West Bloomfield Township Treasurer, who were instrumental parts of a team of officials that helped to partner with the Detroit Institute of Arts in order to bring reproductions of classic art pieces to municipalities all throughout Oakland County and the Tri-County area. Kathy, Debbie, Terry, thank you all for joining us.
Hi, Tyler. Good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you all with us. So, earlier on just recently, we had the DIA on the program with us. We had Amanda Harrison from the DIA of Oakland County to talk about this project. Can each of you talk about the Inside Out program and efforts by each of you, along with others involved in West Bloomfield Township and in other surrounding areas, to make this project a reality and bring some of these art pieces that are reproductions, but still representations of these pieces to Oakland County, to many different locations throughout the county? Let's start with you, Kathy.
Oh, sure. So I have been part of the DIA Inside Out program as a group of people, bringing it to the community of Troy when I was director at the Troy Public Library. And I had worked with the city's community affairs director and the Parks and Recreation director to bring that to Troy. So I got an email that said that the DIA was accepting applications for the 2022 season for Inside Out. So I reached out to Jen Tucker at Parks and Debbie and Terry and said, hey, what do you think? Do you want to try this? And I think it might have been Jen, but it might have even been Debbie or Terry who had been kind of thinking along those lines already. So it was like a very synergistic partnership. We were all on the same page right off the bat. And Jen and I worked on the application with help from Debbie and Terry. I'm fairly new still to the community, so I wanted to make sure, I was understanding and hitting the high points. So I would say it's very definitely a collaborative project, and we all felt really we really hoped that we would get it because we knew this would be a great thing to bring to the community.
And so for you, Debbie, same question for you. Can you talk about being involved in the Inside Out program and why this was something that when it was brought to your attention and to the township's attention, that it became an immediate interest and something that could not only be something impressive for the residents of West Bloomfield, but something that could attract other people to visit West Bloomfield in these many different locations?
It was something that I had thought about before, and just time kept me from getting it done. When Kathy brought it to our attention, it was an exciting moment for two reasons. It was an exciting moment for the opportunity, and it was an exciting moment because of the team that got to work together. And we have one of our committee members here, I wouldn't call it, I guess, an ad hoc committee, but is under the weather right now. But we worked with Jen Tucker, and we had the ability to bring a collaboration of the library, the parks, and town hall together to bring something to the community that we thought would really add enrichment to the lives of our residents, and also make our residents who may or may not be aware of the DIA aware of all of the offerings of the DIA. I think it's a win-win as far as something for our community. And I think that the other win is that the four of us working together brought some really cool opportunities to the community. So I think there will be many more to come. We had a great time working together. It was a wonderful collaboration, and I think that the community will only benefit from this team working together.
And then Terry, we know that West Bloomfield has an affinity for art. It plays host to the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show every summer as well. And so when you and the rest of the committee in West Bloomfield were discussing going and trying for the Inside Out program and discussing with the DIA, what made, in your arguments, West Bloomfield one of those perfect locations to bring some of these recreated art pieces into different spots in Oakland County?
Yeah, so thanks so much, Tyler. As Debbie and Kathy have indicated, first of all, it's just so great that we're working so collaboratively with the library and parks. I mean, really, we make up the community, and to the community, there is no designation. So being able to figure out a way to bring back this program, which we've had before, but it's been quite a few years. I remember I first found out about it when I was walking through Marshbank Park, which is just such a beautiful jewel in our community, with my closest friend. And we stepped out of a path, and there in front of us was a beautiful recreation of some art from the DIA. I remember we just stopped and we're like, wow, art, nature, West Bloomfield, yay. I mean, it was so nice to have art in our community. And especially nowadays, people are getting into these immersive art exhibitions, which are really pretty cool. What's nice about things like this is it really gets families to kind of feel like art is more a part of their daily life. I mean, think about it. You're just on a walk with your kids and your dog, and there's some beautiful art. You stop by one of our beautiful sites, like maybe you go to the West Bloomfield Library for like a story time, or you stop by Parks and Rec to plan camp for your kid, and then all of a sudden there's this gorgeous work of art. For instance, one of my family's favorites over the years is called the hazelnut. I think it's called, let me see, I put my glasses on to make sure I'm getting it right. Yeah, it's called the hazelnuts. And it's a beautiful piece of art with these two girls just kind of like sitting on the grass. And for some reason, because I have two girls, we always really identified with this one. And there were a few other works of art we really liked. And we would go to the DIA and then we'd find these works of art. And we'd also look to see if maybe things that in the art museum reminded us of things in our own life or family members. It's really fun. There was another work of art that actually in it, one of the girls in the art looked exactly like my daughter at that age. So I think that once you find the art in your own environment, it kind of tickles a fancy to go see some more. And the DIA is an amazing art museum that, you know, is a part of the Oakland County Millage. So our community can go there for free. So it's really a wonderful resource, and we're so excited to have it. And I so appreciate working on this with Parks and Library and Debbie, and it's just been a great experience.
And so, Debbie, as this program is soon to be underway and in West Bloomfield and other areas in Oakland County, as the township, as this committee, and in the discussions with the DIA are talking about different places to put some of these works of art, what sort of factor played into it in creating attractions in West Bloomfield Township and trying to bring people in, not only, of course, to attract the eye of the residents, to greater engage in their community, but also bring other people in to explore West Bloomfield, to patronize West Bloomfield and its businesses and its parks and other locations? What factor did that play into the ultimate decision of these different locations and these different art pieces that will be displayed by the DIA in West Bloomfield?
In terms of the discussion, again, that was a team discussion. We were looking at our community and the diversity that we represent. It was an on-site walk around and plan with the DIA. So it wasn't just a let's talk, it was a let's walk and look at locations and discuss what we were looking to accomplish by bringing the art to our community. One of the things was having diversity represented in the choices. Since we are one of the more diverse communities in Michigan, we thought that having a diverse background of artists would also be something that was appealing to our residents. And we also were looking at locations, maybe getting into areas that were less populated, perhaps. And people always come to the downtown area, but how do we get them out more on, we know they're going to the trail, but let's put something at the trail. Let's put something at the West Acres Library. Let's get people moving around the community more. We looked to, Kathy in the library and Jen in Parks to really help with the programming. As much as we love to believe that people come here because the board's just so fabulous, the reality is they really come here because of our parks and our library and in the programming and resources they provide. So that was where the value of the partnership came into play to help with that. But again, going back to, we had two clear goals. One was to represent the community with the art choices, and two was to make sure that the different areas of the community had the opportunity to experience that art and bring people who may not have ever been to the West Acres Library. I mean, everyone knows the main library, but they may have never gone to the West Acres Library. Now they have a solid reason to go over to West Acres and see the piece of art that's there, and also discover the beautiful and tranquil resources that the West Acres Library has.
We're also joined by Terry Weingarten, West Bloomfield Township Treasurer, also on the Michigan Megacast. Terry, what are some of the locations in West Bloomfield that some of these pieces will be located at, if people are interested in engaging in this program right in West Bloomfield?
Right. So thanks again, Tyler. So as I mentioned, my family loves the painting the hazelnuts. That one is at the Parks and Recreation Center. We also have Blue Madonna, which is a very interesting work of art that I wasn't familiar with. So I'm excited about that one. That one's at the West Bloomfield Township Library, the main branch. Then at the West Acres branch, we have Night Shift, which is more of a photographic piece from the Pontiac Assembly Plant. So that's a nice one. And then what's really great too is in some of the parks, we of course have landscapes. So at Marchbank Park, we have Bank of the Oise et Auvers, which is a Vincent van Gogh. And then at the West Bloomfield Nature Preserve on Arrowhead, we have Winter Landscape in Moonlight. And then at the Drake Sports Park, we have the Wedding Dance, which probably some people in our community are familiar with. It's kind of a well-known painting. So we really got some gems. And what's interesting too is when you look at them, of course, the recreations, but they're vibrant. I mean, they really do look like the originals. And it's just really a great way to have like a hands-on experience. And you know how the young people are going around and they're Google games where they would go from site to site. We have 6 sites, so maybe this could be a little bit of a treasure hunt, an art treasure hunt for our residents to see all the pieces.
We're joined by Terry Weingarten, West Bloomfield Township Treasurer, as well as Debbie Binder, the Township Clerk, and then Kathy Russ, Director of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. And Kathy, as you said, when you worked as the Director of the Troy Public Library, the Inside Out program did come to Troy. What was the reaction from the folks in Troy to this program, and then from the city also, and having these different recreations of iconic pieces of art as attractions in the city?
Oh, it was nothing but positive. I mean, everybody loved it, enjoyed it. In fact, I think there were a lot of people who had asked us, if I remember, if we could keep them and keep them forever. And it was like, well, no, they have to go to other communities. The DIA takes them back and tries to share the wealth. But I think what it does is it makes an argument for public art. That public art really does bring so much to the community. These pieces are on loan to us. We have them for several months, then they'll go back to the DIA and next year be used in another community. But that public art enhances a walk in the park, enhances your entrance to the library, your visit to the recreation department, wherever you happen to be. It gives you something different to look at. It gives you something to think about. Just brings that cultural dimension to your life that you might not be paying attention to or notice, or just maybe, just adds it where it isn't there. So I think we're all hoping that that's the experience that people in West Bloomfield have, just that it enhances their lives and is something fun and enjoyable for families to do, for individuals to do, just for everybody to enjoy.
Inside Out by the Detroit Institute of Arts can be found in 3 different counties throughout southeastern Michigan, in Wayne County, in Macomb County, and in Oakland County, in places such as West Bloomfield Township. More information on dia.org/insideout. That's dia.org/insideout, or by visiting the township's website, wbtownship.org, or the library's website, wblib.org. And Kathy, as we engage with this event, as you've seen the impact it had in Troy, in that city, and at your library over there, now, and knowing that the township has such a love and appreciation for art, does that inspire more events to then pop up in the near future through the library or through other organizations, as you speak with others in the committee, to continue to engage the community through art?
Oh, sure. So one of the things that I think is so great about this program is the DIA program is it lends itself to programming, certainly for the library and certainly for parks. And I think at some point, Jen Tucker, I'm sure, will be a guest on your program so she can talk about all the great things that Parks is doing. I do want to mention, in addition, Tyler, to the websites that you mentioned, the Parks Department does have a map of all of the pieces on their website. It's wbparks.org/DIA. And it's a great map because it shows all the different locations, but it also shows you a small representation of each piece, and you can see where each piece is. So I just want to make sure to get that out there. But in terms of programming, yes, the library, the timing was great for this program because it's in tandem with our summer reading program. And this is the first year since the pandemic that we are restarting in-person programming. So we really put a lot of thought into ways that we can gather people safely, but do some special events around these pieces. And I don't know is it okay if I talk more about those?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So we have a program called Inside Out People in Place, and an art expert named Karen Imaricio is coming to do a program for us. It's the same program, once on June 2nd and once on August 4th. But she's going to take each piece and give the history of it, talk about the cultural things that were going on at the times the piece was created or photographed or what have you. And so if anybody is interested in learning more about individual pieces, this would be a great program for that. And then we've also got, because the piece at the West Acres branch is a photograph, it's called Inside Out Photography, and that's on July 7th, and it talks more about the importance of photography in the art world. You know, sometimes people think, oh, it's just a picture, it's just a photograph. Well, photography is art. And so we talk more about that, and then specifically about the piece at West Acres, which is called Night Shift Pontiac Assembly, about assembly line production in Pontiac at the plant by Russ Marshall. So those are two programs. The one that I think is just really fun and creative, those are education informative programs, but if you really want to get your creativity on, we have tiny art kits. And tiny art is just what it sounds like. You paint a little teeny picture. So you can pick up the kits at the library starting on July 18th, and you can take them home and you can paint your little masterpiece and then bring it back to the library, and we're going to display them all. So so you can create your own masterpiece and we will display it for you at the library. And that's for all ages.
More information on wblib.org. You can also learn more about the Inside Out program coming to West Bloomfield at wbtownship.org, and find the full map of locations in West Bloomfield at wbparks.org. For more information throughout the Oakland County, Wayne County, and Macomb County area, where Inside Out will be in several different communities in each of those counties, go to dia.org/insideout. Debbie, Terry, Kathy, thank you all so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Tyler.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes. They stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Welcome to the Michigan Megacast on your family of TV, radio, and other media outlets, including your radio homes. 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about the program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Everyone takes their own journey to reach success and forms their own definition of success over the course of their lifetime, but one man has some helpful key points that can help you achieve your life goals, whatever they may be. Joining us now is Dr. Barry Franklin, professor in the William Beaumont School of Medicine at Oakland University and author of GPS for Success, Skills, Strategies, and Secrets of Superachievers. Dr. Franklin, thank you so much for being with us today.
Tyler, pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah, it'd be good to have you with us. So first off, tell us a little bit about your background and then your journey to authoring this book, GPS for Success, skills, strategies, and secrets of superachievers.
Sure. I was a gymnast in undergraduate school. I went to Kent State University, Tyler, and my goals were really twofold: what new trick I was going to learn on the still rings and which attractive co-ed I was going to take out on Saturday night. And I came to the sobering realization that those goals weren't going to lead to a meaningful career or, for that matter, pay the bills. I got a bachelor's, master's, and PhD from Penn State University, got out into the real world and realized I was not as prepared as I thought I was going to be. Then I started reading everything I could on leadership, success, and early in my career, I embraced Peter Drucker, the management guru's recommendation that everybody should find a secondary pursuit and make it into more than just a hobby. For me, that secondary pursuit became the study of highly successful people in all walks of life. And for the last 4 decades, it's really been a passion of mine, and finally put it together in this new book, GPS for Success.
And so you even taught an entire course on this at Central Michigan. Can you tell us about the basics of GPS for Success and where the titling comes from on this book?
Yeah, the basics are really to fill a void in the standard secondary prevention or secondary education curriculum. The American Council on Education says we need to do a better job in equipping students with broad life and career skills. They talk about these underappreciated soft skills, and the things we address in the book are positive associations, in other words, surrounding yourself with people you want to emulate. Collaboration. There's a synergy when two people with complementary skills work together. They can do a lot more. People skills, very, very important. The reason people are largely hired for jobs and are promoted is people skills, not technical skills. Interviewing, the ability to interview and get a job. Problem solving, goal setting, very, very important. I love the quotes: unless it's on paper, it's vapor. Or if you can think it, ink it, so to speak. Ask for things you want. Very highly successful people in our research ask for things they wanted. Serve others. Focus on your contributions. And there's a boomerang effect that comes back to you. Dealing with setbacks. I oftentimes tell young people, college students, setbacks line the road to success. If you're experiencing setbacks, you know you're on the right road. The patience of virtue, persistence and patience. The potency of preparedness. Every time I give a talk, and I'm sure you do for your radio and podcasts, you prepare. You look at what you got to do. The keys to writing and speaking. Also, organizational membership. I got a great deal out of being a member of several different professional organizations. And the number one factor, taking action. Tommy Hopkins, a top sales leader in the world, has what he calls the law of Goya. Get off your ass and move in the direction of stuff that you want. It is so true. The famous author, Art Williams, said it's not what you say you're going to do in life, it's what you actually do. So this book addresses many, many of those issues.
And so when you mentioned some of these soft skills that are critical to finding success in life, whatever that definition is for you, or whatever those goals are that you're setting, what are some of those skills that you believe that young men and women that are entering their careers now, or even those that are established in their careers but are hitting kind of a standstill, what do you believe among those soft skills and among those major skills that are critical to success that these people may be missing and could be useful to them to read something like GPS for Success and learn some of those skills?
Well, some of the key books that I read over the years that I'd highly recommend beyond academics are The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, and our new book, GPS for Success, Skills, Strategies, and Secrets of Superachievers. You said to me, Barry, give me the foundational factors. I think there are 4. Basically, number 1, if you want to do great work, you got to love what you do. So find out what you love to do and get somebody to pay you to do it. Steve Jobs said the only way to do great work is to love what you do. Secondly, recognize that to a large extent, we make our own destiny. I read a great book by Mark Myers years ago called How to Make Luck. And what he says, and I think it's very true, is 95% of things that happen to you, Tyler, happen because of things you did or didn't do. Number 3, take 100% responsibility for your life. those people who take 100% responsibility are invariably the superachievers. Student one time came up to me and said, Dr. Franklin, you know the 10 most powerful 2-letter words? And I said, I didn't. And she said, if it is to be, it is up to me. And I think that is so, so true. And finally, focus on serving others. A lot of young people worry about making a big salary and a house and travel and so on and so forth. And I say you're focusing on the wrong end of the scale. Focus on your contributions and the rewards will come. I love the quote by Tolstoy, who once said, we love people not for what they can do for us, but for what we can do for them. It's the fundamental ingredient of success. And then if you were to say to me, well, give me some more specifics, let me give you my top 10 if we've got the time.
Yeah,
can I do that? Okay. Number one, look for the good in people and situations. Tyler, if I'm interviewing you and I ask, how's Oakland University or how's your current job? And you say, well, it's really lousy, they aren't good. The interview's over. I don't want you. The thing is, you say, I love where I'm at, but moving to Beaumont or whatever can take my career to a new step. Focus number two on the law of attraction. Believe, act, and achieve. Believe, take action, and achieve. Number three, program your GPS. In other words, set goals in writing. Number four, take action, just do it. As I said, Tommy Hopkins said the law of Goya, get off your butt and move in the direction of your goals. Number five, recognize that setbacks line the road to success and that persistence pays. This latest book that we're talking about, Tyler, I want to say it quietly, but I got turned down by 100 publishers before. A small publisher in a small city, you may have heard of it, called New York, New York. Productivity Press said, we'll publish your book. So never, never give up. Number six, ask for things you want. Reject rejection. You want to get on a committee, you want to do this, call the people and say you're interested in volunteering, you're interested in helping out. I can't tell you the number of successful people I've talked to. I said, how'd you get on that committee? They said, I called the person in charge and asked. Number seven, become a master communicator. There are good data to suggest the bigger your vocabulary, the better speaker you are, the better writer you are, the better you're going to move in your career. The greater number of words you know, the more likely you are to be highly successful. Number eight, power of associations and collaborations. I tell young people, find out the stars in the field, and if you can work with them, even just an internship at no salary, it's priceless experience. Surround yourself with stars. I've been at Beaumont 37 years and have surrounded myself with people who have skills and abilities I don't have, and they make me look good. And I thank them wholeheartedly. You want to double or triple your productivity. Work with others. That book you mentioned was my 27th book. It took the longest ever to write it, almost 4 years. Many of my other books were with three other people, where you take a book this thick and you only have to do this much work, a third if you're doing it with other people. So it's tougher to do things on your own. One other thing, and there's a great analogy. I always watch the Budweiser commercials around Christmas time. You see those big Clydesdales. What many people don't realize, Tyler, is that one Clydesdale can pull 8,000 pounds. You take two Clydesdales, put them together, it's not 16,000 pounds, it's 24,000 pounds. And two Clydesdales working together who've been trained to move together simultaneously can pull 32,000 pounds, 4 times the weight of any one. People are the same way. People working together can accomplish phenomenal things. Number 9, people skills. The main reason people advance in their careers is they've got good people skills. They take an interest in others. They're people of integrity. In other words, doing what you say you're going to do. They make people feel important. Danny Myers, the owner of Shake Shack, was interviewed and said, Mr. Myers, how have you been so successful? You're worth $500 million. He said, every person I see, I pretend they have a sign around their neck that says, make me feel important. Try to exceed people's expectations. And finally, the law of sow and reap. Be willing to pay the price. I had a student from Oakland University looked at my edits on something she asked me to look at, and she said, wow, you made this sound so much better. How often are you doing this writing and this editing? You must have some experience. I said, only on the days I eat. That seemed to get the message across to her that, yeah, you got to spend a lot of time. In fact, Malcolm Gladwell, writer of Outliers, said you got to devote 10,000 hours on something before you really become a good broadcaster, a good writer, a good speaker, whatever. Last but not least, it pays to be just a little bit better. And I tell students this. If you're thinking about the master's, stop thinking about it and take action and get that master's, get the certification, and so on and so forth. 2002, I started looking at the PGA Tour, Professional Golf Association Tour. Number one golfer in the world, Tyler, was a guy by the name of Tiger Woods. You may have heard of him. Averaged 68.56 shots. The number 10 golfer in the world that year was Sergio Garcia. He averaged 70 shots. What does that mean? It means Tiger Woods, number one, would beat the number 10 golfer by an average 1.5 shots. It pays to be a little bit better. It's as simple as that. By the way, as an aside, Tiger Woods made $6.6 million on a tour that year. Sergio Garcia, $2 million. So 6.6 versus 2 million. But there was a company in 2002, you may have heard of them, called Nike, who gave Tiger Woods a $60 to $80 million contract because he was the number one golfer. I tell students and young colleagues, anything you can do to make yourself a little bit better, do it. Those are the keys.
We're joined by Dr. Barry Franklin from Oakland University's William Beaumont School of Medicine. He's also the author of GPS for Success, Skills, Strategies, and Secrets of Superachievers, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Dr. Franklin, this book is great for anybody. These strategies can be used for anybody at any level of life, at any level of their career, whatever career field they're in, but specifically for those who are just graduating, whether it be high school and moving on to college or a trade or some other venture in their life, or those graduating college or just looking for a change in their life. For those groups of people, why is this book something that can be a very, very helpful tool for them as they are reshifting their journey or forming their journey at its early point?
Yeah, it's a great question. In many respects, I could have named this book, Tyler, The Missing Course, because for the most part, I was in physiology. We got a lot on heart rate and energy metabolism and caloric expenditure, but we didn't get much on interpersonal skills and collaboration and goal setting and creating a synergy via collaboration and so on and so forth. So in many respects, this course fills a missing void. One of the few courses I taught was at Central Michigan University, and I taught this course over a 5-year period. It was a 1-credit course. It was on a Friday and Saturday, and the students invariably rated it among the highest rated courses around. I'll also say I'm very proud of the fact that President Peskovitz took an early look at the book and gave us a glowing recommendation. So those are things I'm particularly proud of, and we hope that this can be a useful resource for students. To me, it's the perfect graduation gift, to be quite frank with you.
Dr. Franklin, if people are interested in reading the book, they're interested in purchasing the book, where are some of the places that they can find GPS for Success?
Probably the easiest thing, Tyler, is to simply go to my website. My website is all lowercase, www.drbarryfranklin.com. And there's information on GPS for Success. There's information on the student comments from Central when they took the course. And there's information. There's 3 different options for ordering the book. The best is a company called Healthy Learning out in California, who bought a bulk order and is selling them at a discounted rate.
Dr. Franklin, but before we let you go, another couple minutes left before we'll have to say goodbye today. At this time, after all this knowledge you've collected, after all the studying you've done of successful people in a variety of different fields, at this time, what is your number one piece of advice for anybody at any level of life that's looking to achieve a goal or to achieve a certain level of success, whatever that is defined for them? Your number one tip among all things you've learned that they need to be following in their life, that they need to change in their life today to achieve that success?
I think the key thing is a take-home message that I saw, Tyler, on a car bumper sticker that said, "You are your own fortune cookie." To a large extent, you make your destiny. Don't blame the professor, don't blame the administrator, don't blame the manager or the director. You got to find the right path. And if you're persistent, if you're positive in your interactions with other people, if you read and follow what we have in this book, I think you'll be eminently successful.
Dr. Franklin, thank you so much for joining us.
Tyler, pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for the opportunity.
More information on GPS for success, skills, strategies, and secrets of superachievers can be found on Dr. Franklin's website, drbarryfranklin.com. That's Dr. D.R. barryfranklin.com for more information. And that book is titled again, GPS for Success, Skills, Strategies, and Secrets of Superachievers by Dr. Barry Franklin. We're going to take a break on the Megacast. When we come back, how you can get some help landing that next great job. Sherry Kroll from Streetwise Partners joins us next on the Michigan Megacast.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Joining us now now is the CEO of Streetwise Partners, Sherry Kroll, whose mentorship organization is impacting underserved communities in major cities all across the country, including right here in Michigan. Sherry, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, can you just introduce our audience to Streetwise Partners and the work that you do across the country, including right here in Michigan, to serve underserved communities?
Yeah, my pleasure. And so we are a national mentoring program that engages volunteers to help unemployed and underemployed adults from overlooked communities launch their careers. We know that it takes more than just hard skills in order to really be successful in the workplace. And so even if you've done everything stereotypically right, you've gone to college, city, community college, you've learned hard skills, got a certification. If you don't have advocates, if you don't have professional skills, industry knowledge, and social capital, it can be very, very difficult for you to join the job market, particularly if you're coming from an overlooked community.
And so, Sherry, if people want to engage in this program as mentors, how can they get involved? It is April at the time that we are doing this interview live. April is National Volunteer Month. Can you tell us about the types of volunteers, both mentors and non-mentors, that help support your organization's mission?
Yes, we are coming to the end of Global Volunteer Month, which is a wonderful time for individuals to get involved. And it really doesn't take a lot of time to impact somebody's life. So for Streetwise, we engage mentors to help with career development. So building resumes, LinkedIn profiles, learning interview skills through mock interview, building elevator pitches, doing speed networking events, learning how to make eye contact, speak about yourself with confidence, and really get prepared for the job acquisition process. But we have mentors who both do our 13-week program, which is intensive, where you meet one-on-one with your mentee. That's what we call our clients. Or we have hundreds of volunteers that we bring in that are one-time volunteers. So they may come in and give 2 hours to do a mock interview or an informational interview or participate in our speed networking events. And so really, it doesn't take a lot to be very impactful in somebody's life.
We're joined by Sherry Kroll, the Chief Executive Officer of Streetwise Partners, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. So if people want to become a mentor, what are the requirements and what are the steps that they need to take in order to join your organization and mentor some of these individuals that may be underemployed or unemployed?
Yeah, so we're looking for individuals who have been in the workforce for at least 2 years, who can commit the time, and who have some sort of expertise in some key job functions, which our mentees are looking to go into. So particularly IT, that's a huge sector that's available, where there's demand within the Detroit area for talent. You don't need a college education in order to join the IT sector, and we are really looking for individuals who come from that sector to help ensure that our mentees can be successful in job acquisition. We're looking for individuals who are coming from the healthcare sector, also who are within the administrative support job function as well. And then really just making sure that individuals are excited about helping people along their career journey. If you are interested in getting involved either as a mentor or a one-time volunteer, it's super easy. You can visit our website, streetwisepartners.org, ton of information on there. Right now our programs are virtual, so it's even easier. You can mentor somebody from your home, which is great. We're hoping to, at some point, have a hybrid program where we also have in-person experiences, because we believe that's important as well. But right now, you can volunteer from the comfort of your home.
Sherry, can you talk about how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted your organization? You mentioned the virtual programs, virtual mentoring has been one of those impacts. That continues to be one of those impacts as your organization looks to, in the future, transition to hybrid opportunities and some in-person opportunities coming back as well. But what are some other ways that the pandemic has impacted your organization's ability to serve the people that it serves, and how has your organization navigated those challenges?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when COVID-19 hit, we really jumped into crisis mode to make sure that our mentees had the information they needed about how the job market was really changing minute by minute. How do they navigate the virtual world that kind of came onto us really, really quickly? And then we were able to shift our in-person programming into a virtual format pretty quickly. So we were able to continue to serve our clients in a significant way. We also saw a couple of things happening. We saw an intense sort of an overwhelming demand for volunteerism, because I think people wanted to be part of the solution, particularly if they were lucky enough to sort of maintain their jobs and maintain their economic situation. We saw companies really doubling down on their commitment to economic equity, particularly after George Floyd's murder as well. And so that was a really sort of wonderful moment as we look at the workforce development sort of sector. And for us, we were able to really reach more individuals who might have struggled with transportation or childcare issues, because the ease of participating in program virtually really allowed them to get involved. We did see a real significant digital divide. So individuals who lacked hardware, lacked good internet service, that was a real barrier. And we actually helped many of our participants secure the kind of technology that they needed in order to participate in the program.
We're joined by Sherry Kroll, the Chief Executive Officer of Streetwise Partners, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on their website, streetwisepartners.org. That's streetwisepartners.org. You can call their Michigan chapter by calling 313-209-3341. That's 313-209-3341 for more information, or email info@streetwisepartners.org. Sherry, as we continue to talk about the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on your organization, it's also had a major impact on the job market too. It seemed like before the pandemic there was a bit of a struggle to find those openings and in the job market, and then stark competition for each of those positions. Now it seems like businesses are really struggling themselves to find people to fulfill these positions and fill all of these open positions, and even reorganizing their companies and their business models in order to adapt to that condition of the current job market. How has the current job market status, with all these open jobs in all these different sectors of the economy, how has that impacted the mentors in your organization, but also those mentees in their job searches?
I actually think it's been really positive for our mentees. And what I will say is, a lot of people talk about a real talent drought, and I would say there's talent there. I think a lot of companies have a pipeline challenge where they're continuing to go to the same wells for talent and they're not getting different results. And so I would say programs like ours have an incredible pool of diverse, capable talent. And we're now educating companies that they need to look beyond their traditional sources in order to really identify people to fill their open roles. And so, I think it's an employee market right now, which is great. And so we're actually also empowering our mentees to be bold in terms of what they're asking for, and aiming high with their salaries and making sure that they're compensated in the ways that they should be.
So if somebody is in need of the services of Streetwise Partners, or maybe in need of some help and assistance in their job search through a company like yours or an organization like yours, how can they go about getting that help? And then how long is that process before they inquire to where they're able to start getting that help and really amping up their job search?
Yes, so absolutely reach out to us. We have a very welcoming process where we meet with every individual who is looking for support. We have an application process. We do an interview to really understand what are the needs and challenges, do they fit with our program, but also how can we be most helpful. For those who are accepted into the program, it is a 1-year mentoring program broken up into 2 phases. Phase 1 is our 13-week core intensive, where each individual is matched with up to 2 mentors. So it's just double the network, double the access. And the mentors and mentees meet once a week for 2 hours in the evening. So it could be a Tuesday night from 6:30 to 8:30, as I said, virtual. So we're Zoom experts. So you meet with your mentors on Zoom in a cohort. So picture 25 mentees and 50 mentors together in Zoom, working as a group, networking, but also really focusing on each of our mentees' needs. And then we walk them through a curriculum. So week 1 is building the career map. Week 2 is building the resume. Week 3 is building the LinkedIn profile, and on and on. So it's very, very focused on building the career skills that they need. At the end of 13 weeks, we then ask our mentees and mentors to stay together for another 9 months. So at this point, it's all focused on job acquisition, job retention. Are you sending out your resumes? Did you get a job? You hate your boss, don't quit. Let's talk it through. So really all the support that they need from a mentor who's going to not only help them with their career journey, but also hopefully open doors for them so that they can continue with economic mobility.
We're joined by Sherry Kroll, the Chief Executive Officer of Streetwise Partners, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on their website, streetwisepartners.com. That is streetwisepartners, .org. Streetwisepartners.org is their website. Call their Michigan chapter 313-209-3341. That's 313-209-3341, or email info@streetwisepartners.org. And Sherry, throughout your program, you do have a great focus that you put on readiness for your mentees and being ready to enter that job market, to apply for the job, to being ready to interview very shortly, even after or at any point in the process of them looking for a job. So focusing on the readiness, can you share about one of the key points of that, which is developing having soft ties and having weak ties, and how that plays in to this idea of readiness when somebody is entering the job market or continuing their job search in the job market?
Yeah, so we talk a lot about not just having professional skills, but also having social capital. And so that means people around you that you can call on to support your career journey. And we also talk about the research which says you need both strong ties and weak ties. And so strong ties are individuals around you, mentors, parents, professors, teachers who are going to really follow you through your career journey, versus weak ties, which might be individuals who come into your life for short moments, but are also very pivotal. So somebody who maybe does an informational interview with you, or a mock interview, or who you maybe can call on for one particular skill or advice, but they're not going to be your sort of long-term mentors, and you actually need both. And so that's why social capital building is so important, particularly for people from overlooked communities who may just, because of where they were born or where they live, they just don't have access to individuals who can help them along their career journey.
We're joined by Sherry Kroll, the Chief Executive Officer of Streetwise Partners, joining us on the Megacast. More information on the website, streetwisepartners.org. And so, Sherry, we have a few more minutes with you. Before we let you go, can you tell us some of the success stories from those that have gone through your program and then gone into the job market, maybe even acquired their dream job?
Yes. Oh, I have so many. Each year we serve 650 adults across New York, DC, and Michigan through the support of 2,500 volunteers. So it is an army of volunteers, and we really do depend on our volunteers to change the lives of our participants. Happy to share that 70% of our graduates are employed within 1 year. Average salaries increased by 400%. So that right there, you can't get better than that. And really, a job does change everything. It's not only a paycheck, but it's a sense of community, a sense of confidence, a sense of identity. And so we're just so proud of the impact that we as an organization are having, and that our volunteers are having as well.
Sherry, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all?
You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program by visiting civiccentertv.com and clicking on our Megacast link or typing in civiccentertv.com/Megacast, you'll find information on our entire network of stations, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the program is the co-founder of Detroit Will Breathe, an organization fighting against police brutality and systemic racism in Detroit and beyond. Tristan Taylor joins us now on the Megacast. Tristan, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, for those that may not be familiar with your organization, tell us about Detroit Will Breathe.
Well, Detroit Will Breathe was formed in 2020 in the heat of the movement for Black Lives. And we are an organization that was formed in order to give an organized and collective voice to like the people who are protesting, who wanted to not only bring accountability to the police department, but who really were thinking about how to deal with the structural inequality and racism that permeates our society, and what it would take to really eradicate and deal with those issues.
And Tristan, there's so many different contexts by which to understand these issues and to understand where we are at in our society in America and in the state of Michigan in terms of battling systemic racism and resolving these issues to create a more equitable society. And I think unfortunately, one of those disparities that makes this so clear is in the reaction from law enforcement, in particular when we have incidents like we had over the weekend in Buffalo, where there was a shooting at a supermarket in Buffalo that took several lives. The shooter, it was later revealed the shooter's motivation for this incident was racially motivated, and yet he's brought in seemingly so peacefully, brought in to be arrested after that incident, whereas we've seen so many times that people of color, that black people, are taken in and with great force, sometimes even killed or severely injured as they're being arrested. So as you're watching what unfolded, in Buffalo over the weekend, and the story is coming in initially with the reaction to the shooting and the way that this person was apprehended. What were your thoughts, especially on how that reflects systemic racism as it pertains to arrests in the United States?
Well, I think it reflected two things. One, to me, the broader question of why people feel emboldened to make these attacks, I think is one that needs to be talked about, because my feeling is with the way in which we fail to prosecute and bring justice people who do harm to Black bodies, in particular the police, it just sends a message that you can attack us without impunity. And the second thing is, along your point about the grace almost in which white assailants is what you might call them, right, or whatever, are handled versus Black people who face brutalization for minor traffic stops, right? Patrick Leola died for a minor traffic violation. And it makes you question the whole intent of the police and what their role actually is, what purpose they serve. And it also questions, how all the ways in which we express a lack of value for Black and brown lives.
Yeah, and it's reflected in the rhetoric that surrounds these incidents. You mentioned, and you said something that that I thought was very interesting and thought-provoking, which is that the rhetoric that is out there inspires these acts of racially motivated violence that we saw in places like Buffalo, and we've seen in so many other places of late, where these so-called assailants go into different locations with the goal of shooting and killing as many people as they can, that simply with the simple motivation of I'm killing them because they fail to be white. And that speaks to a greater danger that is out there that is motivating this, and that's some of this political rhetoric that is out there that's being inspired by those that are in power in certain political spectrums in the U.S., and the way that they inspire these people to come out of the woodwork and then be accepted, or maybe accepted, it's not the best word for that, but be a little bit more, let's say, pampered as they're being brought in. When these incidents happen, when you have an act of violence that's being committed by somebody that is white and male, especially straight white and male, often the wording that comes in afterward is troubled, or they have issues, or they were frustrated, which doesn't do justice to the fact that they killed people. They aim to kill people because of the color of their skin, because of the way that they are, because of who they are, and that act of violence should not be acceptable in any way. And so when you hear these kinds of words coming through, when you're referring to white assailants, but then you have someone that's committing maybe a minor incident and is brought in safely and does cooperate with the police, and then gets brutalized in the process, be called something like a thug, how does that make you as a Black man feel?
Well, a couple of things. One, you used the word accepted, and I thought about that, and I was like, well, some of these folks have been accepted, right? Yeah. I think about Kyle Rittenhouse, right? I think about the January 6th rioters, right? Who have been hailed as defenders of American democracy, as defenders of property. And so there is an element upon which these folks have been embraced. And when Patrick Leola was murdered by Grand Rapids Police Department, they made sure to release his traffic record to show that he had previous violations. They're always when Black and brown people are involved, trying to make us out as criminals from the beginning and troublemakers instead of being troubled, right? No one ever asked the question. Patrick Leola, for example, was a refugee from the Republic of Congo. He is a refugee that escaped, violence and war. And to this day, there has not been a discussion about the troubles that he faced as a consequence of that. What we get instead is a toxicology report saying that, oh, well, actually, he was inebriated. So there you go. That's problematic, right? And that is problematic because it speaks to the ways in which the police actually not just like uphold, but help instigate this narrative, right? This stereotype in the way that Black and brown people are treated, and in the way white suspects are treated.
Yeah, and nobody's asking for more brutalization. Nobody is saying that, well, if you are bringing in Black people, if you're bringing in people of color in a way that is often violent, that should also be the way that you bring in everybody else. That's part of the problem, is the violence itself. But what you're speaking to is beyond that. It's the disparity in the way that certain people are apprehended versus other people, and the way that has not been properly addressed by the authorities. We've heard, especially in the wake of the murder of George Floyd in 2020 and the protests that mounted as a result of that incident, as well as many other incidents well before that, spanning decades, that the police need better training. They need to rethink their training. They need to go through sensitivity training. They need to go through implicit bias training. And in many cases, those have been implemented, but that's not quite enough. So when you, as a leader of an organization like Detroit Will Breathe, are in discussions with those in leadership positions, what are you urging them to be considering as they look into the present and the future and try to bridge these gaps and solve these issues that are serious and severe issues throughout our society?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I think we demand is for the persecution of police officers who are involved in violent crimes, right? And we want, termination of officers who are part of using excessive force, or who partake in, illegal activity or behavior that is damaging, to people. The second thing is that we make a demand that we actually de-emphasize the role of police. And I put that lightly. The truth is, for us, the police serve no purpose but to enforce inequality, right? They don't protect us. They don't ever see their job as protecting us, especially Black and brown people. They see their job as containing us and treating us as potential criminals all the time. That's baked into what policing is. And the only way to resolve that is by getting rid of it and replacing it with institutions and systems that actually look to deal with the problems that cause and create people to partake in criminal activity, or what it means to keep a neighborhood safe. If we don't have resources for people in the neighborhood that can help them sustain themselves and their families, it doesn't matter, right? If we keep throwing money at the police. But the most important thing is we need to see accountability, and we need to see the persecutions of these officers involved, who have these egregious records against them around excessive force and complaints against citizens. There was a recent article in Deadline Detroit, for example, that showed extensively a problem within the Detroit Police Department in actually even suspending or bringing into making sure that they were disciplined for having, egregious complaints against them. So that's our problem. We need persecution of these police officers, and we need to stop funding police departments. We need to be putting that money and resources into things that can actually help people be safe.
And you mentioned money and the resources, that those go so far when you actually invest in those resources in communities, when you have access to proper and helpful mental health care, when you have access to those that are able to properly and are properly trained to de-escalate situations and to bring a sense of calm and to bring a sense of humanity to situations that are often tense and highly emotional, and they should be, because they're they're intense moments of life. And to be able to have those resources, you see in communities that do have those resources that crime numbers, so to speak, are lower, that these kinds of incidents aren't seen as often. But there are so many communities throughout the state of Michigan, throughout the United States, that simply do not have these kinds of resources, and the investment's not being made in these resources to bridge those gaps. How big of an impact does that have when you on those that may be in these kinds of situations when they have nowhere to turn, and then you see, and then organizations like yours are out there and advocating for this? What sort of these programs does organizations like Detroit Will Breathe and others similar to it in Michigan and across the U.S., what sort of programs are they looking to be invested in these communities in place of such an emphasis on police intervention?
You know, one of the things, for example, is like mental health services, right? And again, like the question of mental health certainly came up with the shooter in Buffalo. It always does, of these white mass shooters. It's never a question, though, of Black people like having need of mental health services, right? It's always, no, we're just criminals, and that's why we do what we do. We need, more public infrastructure that can not just do like job training, but just even be, places where like community programs can be offered and implemented, right? We need public schools, right? Every public school that I went to in Detroit is like closed. We've had, over 120 schools like closed in the city. And what that means for neighborhoods who the school served as a community hub is that they no longer have an anchor to keep them afloat. So we need schools, we need libraries. Like I said, we need job training. Like we need affordable housing, and yeah, we need more social workers, right?
Yeah, all these resources critical to communities in a number of different facets, not just on the subject of quote unquote crime or incidents in the community. They have impacts on a number of different levels. Taylor, another couple of minutes before we'll have to say goodbye today. Before I let you go, I want to give you an opportunity to give us some more information on if people are interested in participating in different events and programs with Detroit Will Breathe. How can they find out more information?
Well, definitely follow us on our social media pages. We both have like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and it's at Detroit Will Breathe. You can also go on the website, detroitwillbreathe.info, and check out, the postings of the latest campaigns or actions that we have there.
Tristan, thank you so much for joining us.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Again, more information can be found on DetroitWillBreathe.info. You can find them on Twitter at DETWillBreathe, on Facebook at Facebook.com/DetroitWillBreathe, and Instagram at DetroitWillBreathe as well. That is going to do it for today's edition of the Megacast. You can find all these interviews from today's program on our website at CivicCenterTV.com by clicking on our Megacast link and navigating to watch full episodes or each individual interview on your own time. In addition, on our Megacast page, you'll learn more information about all of our partnering TV, radio, and other web outlets that join us in the Oakland County area and all across the state of Michigan by clicking on their individual links. Learn more about their original programming in the other 22 hours of the day that they're not joining us on the Megacast Monday through Friday, as well as their other programming throughout the evenings and weekends as well. CivicCenterTV.com/Megacast. Also head over to our local news page, CivicCenterTV.com/local-news for links for updated information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the NBHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division, as well as headlines with our top stories all across the state of Michigan each and every day before our program. Big thank you to our crew that makes this program possible every single day. Calvin Brown, our studio producer, our technical director each and every day. Jared Clark, our Zoom producer at the office of My Michigan TV in Troy, Michigan. And the king of television himself, Larry Nyland, our producer, booking each and every one of these guests and helping them and us be prepared for informative conversations on a number of different topics 5 days a week. On My Michigan TV, Steve Lato Live is coming up next, followed by Larry and Ronnie Live. We'll return Tuesday with another edition of the Megacast.